So we wanted to do. We'll start with yours. What are the roots of the conflict, and then we can do ending the occupation and ensuring equal rights are key to lasting peace. So
Okay,
you can go ahead and start with the root conflict, I guess.
what do you think is the root conflict?
Uh, I mean, are you asking what action or who?
What is your opinion the reason for the conflict is?
I would say Zionism, I guess, as
What is
a
Zionism
broad
then?
con. The belief that it's like the political and religious belief that Mount Zion is the homeland of like the Jewish people
Okay, but
in
that's
simple terms.
but that's not I mean the Arabs and Muslims can accept that definition. Like they in the Quran it's written 22 times, you know, about the people of Israel. They are both Abrahamic religions. So that's something that the Arabs can accept that Jews that used to
Well,
be Jews'
I
homeland.
think, well, to be more specific, I think it's not just Zionism. I want to be clear. It's not just Zionism. It is definitely multifaceted. So it's like Zionism plus all of the different circumstances that had risen to basically, well, as far as like why it's being done, it's I would say it's ideological. But as far as how, there's many different answers to that. And one of the main ones I would say would be the British coming and colonizing, because before the British came, there was no fighting. There was just high tensions.
Before the British came, there was fighting in the Ottoman period.
There was. I mean, according to everything that I know, there wasn't.
There were um, attacks on the Jews. There were pogroms on the Jews in Israel. Sorry,
Oh no, I'm sorry. I wasn't. I was talking to my girlfriend. Let me
and I think
just.
and I think even
So
I
I
think
mean,
even to some degree the
no. So there
Ottomans.
was no. Let me clarify. So there was no large scale violent conflict between Jews and Arabs.
Well, there wasn't. There were. I can agree to that, but there was violence. There may not be a large scale violence because it was still like there wasn't that many people at the time, and the Arabs thought that they could just harass Jews till they leave eventually on their own. But when Jews in Israel were a bit more formalized, had a bit more organization, a bit more structure, then it became more violent. But it was always the case that Arabs attacked Jews, desecrated their bodies as sort of threat or humiliation to the other Jews in the area, and it was never the case that it was peaceful per se. And I think even
Well,
in the Ottoman period, where Jews were starting to return, there was always like a presence of Jews in Israel. Where Jews were starting to return, the Ottomans kind of persuaded Arabs from Egypt and Syria to come into that area so that the Jews won't outnumber the local population of Arabs.
so I mean, you don't think that this is like
Well,
what?
you said you
What?
said
Let me
that
ask you
you
this.
said ideological. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yes, no, because of Zionism. So like, the goal of Zionism is to be at Mount Zion or as close to it. So like the the fact that people are using this to justify, harming people's lives, like even like at first, like my understanding is that the purchasing of land was legal, just that it was overbearing because of how how many people it would displace. But then once the British came and they colonized it, they supported Israel and its policies. And if you ask me, that was just basically the the lighter that lit the gas.
So,
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, just, like it was fueled by Zionism, basically.
So why
Just
would
to
Arabs have a
bring it
problem
back
that
to how does that have to do with
why would Arabs have a problem that Israel that Jews are living in Israel in Mount Zion?
why would our because they were currently living there when they were being displaced by when the Jews returned.
Uh, well, if you say
It's possible that they could have been there, really really long ago, but they left. They went to Europe and other
if you
parts of the
say
world.
if well they went all over the world. If you say Mount Zion, if you mean Jerusalem proper always had a majority of Jews than any other uh, ethnicity or religion. Always.
Okay, and that's fine.
And
There's not a problem with that, but
until they were kicked out of Jerusalem in 1948 by the Jordanians and ethnically cleansed from it, there were always a majority Jews in Jerusalem. Like it was like I'm talking about like the numbers is like 14,000 versus 5 or 7,000 Muslims, but there were always a majority Jews in Jerusalem. If that's what you mean
I
by
mean
Mount Zion.
that's fine. I don't really care. Like that there were like about the actual ratio of how many Jews were there relative to Arabs. The only thing that I care about is the oppressive nature that they take at achieving their goal of being close to Mount Zion. I don't think that you get to like fight people over over a stupid mountain. I mean, come on, it's a fucking
No,
mountain.
you're saying they had an issue with Jews being in Jerusalem or Mount Zion specifically, which I'm interpreting as Jerusalem.
No, 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 no. They had an issue. It's not that they had an issue with them being there. It's that they had an issue with them driving them away, like because they were currently living there. So, like, imagine, like, you live in, and like a million people start coming in, and they start buying all the properties near you, and some are doing it legally, some maybe not. So, and then you just all of a sudden your area gets colonized by a foreign government,
Okay,
and they support.
let me just for a second let's for this let's make an argument. I'm not fully conceding to it. Let's make an argument that you're right. They're upset that they'll be displaced. There are countless
Mm-hmm,
examples in history where whole um, large groups of people were displaced. Even if you take 1948, in 1948, India was formed, Pakistan was formed. I believe I wouldn't say China was formed, but like some version was formed. There are
mm-hmm.
all these countries that were formed, and during their formation, people had to lose their homes and move from one side of a sovereign nation to the other because their house happened to be also like Germany and Poland. They redrew their borders, and Germans found themselves to be on the Polish side. Like there are millions of people displaced around that time. You don't see them starting infinite wars, though. I mean, I'm sure they're sad they
Right,
lost their
right, and
land, but
so that's like my entire problem with Israel then, right? Because we do look around the world and people get displaced for all different sorts of reasons, and it usually doesn't lead to an all-out war. But the fact that this has led to an all-out war leads me to believe that the people that are coming there and finding a lot of resistance to their occupation or whatever you want to call it, them being there, and they're still they're very successful in their acquisition of the land because they have are being, they have lots of resources and they're able to be very effective in their acquisition of the land. The fact that they're so persistent in their goal of no, we're staying here, this is ours. I mean, it sounds very ideological driven to me.
I don't see your point. I just told you that millions of people were displaced around this period of 1948, including Jews from Arab countries. They were ethnically cleansed from all the Arab countries, and they had to go to Israel. Now, you don't see Jews go back to Baghdad, which was 32% Jewish at the time, the capital city of Iraq, and start like terror attacks to reclaim their property, or the billions and billions of dollars they lost from the property they were ethnically cleansed from. But you do see Arabs, so I don't see the distinction. I don't see the distinction between the millions of people who were displaced and didn't start a forever war. Just the Arabs did.
So what is this? Just like a whataboutism? So what about when they did this to the Jews? What about when they did this to so and so? Like you're just deflecting from my criticism
I'm
of
saying
what's actually happening.
I'm saying you didn't give me a satisfactory answer, because there have been countless examples of displacement just on the face of it that didn't lead to forever wars.
What specifically do you want an answer to?
Okay, let's do Pakistan and India.
What specifically are you asking?
To form Pakistan and India, millions of people had to move away from India and into Pakistan. Millions of people had to move from Pakistan into India because new sovereign lines were drawn and they lost their homes in a different country. So why didn't they start a forever war?
I mean, I'm not too well educated on that situation, so I have to look into it.
Okay, sure. Jews were kicked out, were ethnically cleansed from all Arab countries in the Middle East. Why didn't Jews start a forever war?
Well, why? I mean, because you can't do that.
Sorry, why
I don't
not?
think that the goal. Are they being oppressed? Were they being like?
They were ethnically cleansed. They were ethnically cleansed from their property. Pogroms, violence. The government pushed them out.
If they're being ethnically cleansed, then they got a right to defend themselves.
Definitionally ethnically cleansed.
Yeah,
there was a huge refugee problem.
Right to, no, I don't know. They should have.
Should do what? Do a forever war?
Just defended themselves.
Why
are they doing it now?
They were a minority in a country, in an Arab majority country.
Why do you find it so easy to say we need to let them do it now, but the fact that they didn't do it back then, you're like, well, do they have a right to defend themselves now? Is that what you think that they're doing? That this is all just defensive against?
I'm saying, look, again, my point is this: there are many examples, millions and millions of people were displaced around the period of 1948 in Asia, in Europe, in the Middle East, in many places. You don't see them, any of them, and I literally mean like tens of millions of people. You don't see them start a forever war about it. Why? Only in the case of Israel, tiny.
Why do you say that
tiny land area?
Palestinians starting?
No, I'm just asking. Why the difference?
I don't think that there really is much of a difference.
But other places had exactly the same issue, and you don't see them have a forever war about it.
It's just different circumstances.
Okay, I don't know. What
I can't really answer that question for you.
Well, that's important, don't you think?
I mean, it's just kind of like a. It's not really. If I were to look into these situations, I could give you an answer. But the fact that I'm uneducated on what happened in Pakistan and India, I really couldn't give you an answer.
Well, they agreed.
I know.
If
you want me to look into it, I can look into it.
Okay, so why did you?
I can give you an answer.
Why did you decide to focus on Israel and ignore all the other mass displacements and ethnic cleansing? Except
I'm not ignoring it. I'm not ignoring it.
You are.
It's just that this is happening now. This is happening now. If there's something else happening now that I'm not aware of, I would love to know about it. Like I know about what's going on with the Uyghurs in China. That's
Okay.
horrible. Uh, I know about certain stuff, but I'm not able to know about everything. If there's something that's happening now, like a
Yeah.
conflict that's going on, like a good example would be, I guess, Ukraine versus Russia.
Okay,
I'm educated on that
let
slightly.
me try going a different direction here for a second. Do you know who the spiritual and military leader of the Arabs in what is now Israel, who he was, sorry.
What? Can you repeat that?
Do you know who was the spiritual and military leader of the Arabs in Israel, or what is now known as Israel?
No.
You don't know who the leader was?
The spiritual leader
Spiritual
in Israel?
military leader.
No.
Hajj Amin al-Hussein, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem.
What does that have to do with anything?
He was the leader of the what you would call Palestinians.
Okay.
Okay, what was his stance on Jews?
Oh. So yeah, if you want to talk about like how you're saying Palestinians, which are
Well, there weren't
actually talking
Palestine.
about is Hamas.
Pala
Hamas is guilty of. Hold on, I know about Hamas, how they have it in their
no. Wait,
declaration of
wait.
like
We're not.
jihadi to Jews.
We're not in Hamas yet. We're not in that stage of history just yet. I'm just and Palestinian from my point of view, the current Palestinian identity that is being discussed was something that was created by Yasser Arafat in 1964. I mean, I can discuss
Well,
further back.
Palestinian is an ethnicity.
No,
It's not like an ideology at all.
Arab is an ethnicity.
Okay.
Palestinian is a national identity.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
But the
so
Arabs,
the leader of the then Arabs was the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Hajj Amin al-Hussein. What was his opinion on Jews?
probably hated them.
What was his association to the Nazi Germans?
Why should I care?
It's important.
Probably a Nazi.
He met Hitler on several occasions. He worked with Hitler in Eastern Europe to recruit Bosnians. He brought back with him uh, Nazi leaders or like his Arab leaders associated with Nazi leaders. And he asked Hitler personal permission to kill. Hitler's mission was to kill all the Jews in the world. He asked Hitler to kill the Jews in the Middle East, and he said the Jews are yours.
Oh
This is funny
man.
to you?
Well, I don't know. I think that you're misappropriating this history to
Excuse me?
imply something that it's
So
not. Yeah.
are you saying this isn't important? The leader of the then Arabs closely associating with the Nazi party and speaking directly with Hitler on several occasions?
Let me look into
Would you
that.
like to see pictures? I can show you pictures.
Yeah, let me look into it. Where's my phone? I want to look into that.
Sure.
Fuck. Oh, here's my phone. Okay, so you're saying who is this guy? What's his name?
Hajj Amin al-Hussein.
Oh, you're gonna have to spell that.
Um, okay, hold
Can
on.
you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I'll get the right.
Uh, oh, excuse me.
Wonderful. H-A-J Hajj, one word.
H
Amin,
A.
A-M-I-N.
What?
Amin, A-M-I-N. L,
Hajj.
E-L. L dash Husseini.
Hold on. Write that in the chat. Okay. Okay, I see. All right. I'm gonna look that up real quick. And so, what are you saying that this is why? So, where are you going with this?
That the reason why the reason why that Haji Min Hussein hated Jews is the same reason why Hitler hated Jews, or similar.
Oh, okay. So no, so you're not you didn't provide any context along with that.
What
So
concept
that
would you like?
meeting, so that meeting right there
Mm-hmm.
in the picture,
Yeah.
why are they there?
To discuss help in Hungary, I believe.
Helping Hungary.
Help. Hitler needed, or Hitler asked. I don't know if he asked or well, he did ask. So Hitler asked Al Husseini to recruit Bosnians to help get to help like gather the Jews from Hungary and then transport the Jews from Hungary to Auschwitz in Poland. And there was a threat,
Really?
yes, and there was a threat that the resistance will bomb the bridges where the trains are traveling on, and then they won't be able to transport the Jews. Haji Minna Hussein recruited Bosnians to protect the bridges. Bosnians are Muslims, to protect the bridges, so that the trains can successfully reach, with the Jews successfully reach Auschwitz, and therefore facilitated in the death
You
of.
said, wait,
Can I
who
just
hired people to protect the British? I got questions.
Bosnians?
Who was hired by them
Hajamin approached the Bosnians to do this activity.
to protect the British?
The bridge
Oh,
with train
oh,
tracks
so
on them.
what? So that they weren't there to like discuss like protections against the British, right?
In what context is this? Sorry,
It's 1941.
sorry, but what is that to do with the British specifically in the Middle East?
Yeah,
I mean, Hajj Amin Hussein already had a good working relationship with Hitler.
did he?
Yes, you can see from the pictures I gave you.
So
So
what was the other picture? That's not from that same meeting?
the the other picture is Hajj Amin Hussein walking past a regiment of Nazi soldiers and saluting them in the same way that Hitler salutes them.
Let me look that picture up. Figure out where that's from. Gotta make
If
sure
I
you
can,
fact check everything. You know what I'm saying?
if I can just conclude my previous point,
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I'm looking this up.
By Hajj Amin Hussein recruiting the Bosnians and protecting the bridges from being vandalized by the resistance, or sabotaged, sorry, by the resistance. This facilitated the death of 593,000 Jews from Hungary to then arrive to Auschwitz to be killed. And there was another occasion during the end of the war where Hitler wanted to exchange 5,000 Jewish children for German prisoners of war, and Hajj Amin al-Hussein persuaded him not to, and so that he could kill the 5,000 children and let the German prisoners of war remain where they are. He spoke to Hitler to not go ahead with that exchange and kill the Jewish children.
Yeah, so this that second photo video was from wasn't from the same meeting. Uh, well, yeah, he worked with the Nazis to organize and recruit Bosnian Muslims into the Waffen SS, hoping to use them as a force to fight against the Allies and potentially aid in Arab nationalist efforts in the Middle East.
Hitler did send German officers to help the Arabs in the Middle East. I can't tell you at the back of my head, or top of my head, sorry, what they function as, but there were German Nazi German officers in the Middle East working with the Arabs. I'm not sure what they did, but they were there.
Okay, well, this is the same argument that people have used to say why we shouldn't support Ukraine, and I think it's complete bullshit because there was plenty of people
That's
back
not the
then
argument I'm
who
making.
aligned them.
That's not the argument I'm making
Well,
at all.
then why are you bringing up that he is associated with Nazis?
It's
I don't because
because
he
the
hates
same
Jews.
reason why the Nazis wanted to kill the Jews is the same reason why the Arab leadership wanted to kill the Jews. And therefore that is the reason for the fighting.
I
It's
disagree. I think you're simplifying it way too much.
okay, so you're saying it's about land. Give me some evidence that the Arabs are interested in the land, that they want the land. Obviously they want the land for themselves, but why is it that they can't share the land?
I think they would share the land
What
if
evidence do you
you
have for
know
this?
they weren't being starved out, and
What evidence
and there
do
was no blockades, and
what evidence do you have that the Palestinians or the Arabs before they were Palestinians wanted to share the land with the Jews? Were happy to share the land with the Jews?
the fact that there was no large scale violence, and that they were able to legally purchase land.
Okay, there was violence, so I'm disputing that. But today,
It was
or 20
small
years,
scale.
one second.
It was small scale.
Let me just make a point. Today or 20 years ago, or 40 years ago, when have we ever had a situation where you feel that the Palestinians were happy to share the land with the Jews? At 1947, 1946, because before there was Israel, they were still fighting. They were fighting in the 1920s, they were fighting in the 1936 to 1931. They were fighting in 1907. So when exactly do you feel that the Arabs were happy to share the land with the Jews?
No, I'm not saying anything about being happy. It's about that there was no large scale violence.
You're not answering my question.
It, I'm saying if they're able to do it today, uh, if they're not happy, then they're just gonna. I don't care if they're not happy. They're just
Okay,
gonna
so
have to do it
and who's gonna? So why would they stop the violence then?
because
Because
why
what?
continue it?
Because they want
Because
to kill.
why
Why
continue it?
continue? Because they want to kill all the Jews. They want to kill the Jews and make sure the Jews do not occupy any part of the land. Oh, sorry, do not exist on any part of the land in Israel. That just like the Hamas charter,
Well,
just like if you
I'll
do
tell you
man,
what.
if you go see man on the street interviews, you'll hear the same thing. They don't want Jews to exist in Israel.
Well, I'll tell you what. As far as the root cause, I believe the root cause is because of the massive power disparity that come between the
Yeah,
two groups.
I
Of,
don't speak socialist, and this area of the world isn't necessarily socialist. Can you give me an actual answer that doesn't involve some kind of academic mumbo jumbo?
yeah, Israel has way more power than
And
fucking
but
Palestine.
back then they had way more power. What's the difference?
Back,
If
really, how much? I want to know how
during the
close.
Ottomans during the Ottoman time, the Ottomans, which are not Arabs but Muslims, they had way more power. Or you could say that there were more Arabs there, had way more power. Even when Arabs attacked Israel, they attacked Israel with 5 Arab armies. It was Egypt, It was Syria. It was Jordan. It was anyone from Iraq that could make it. I think Saudi Arabia contributed in some degree, Lebanon. All these Arabs, 5 Arab armies attacked Israel. So they were a
So there
larger
was like
force.
no, there was never any defined Palestinian state during the Ottoman Empire.
Well,
There was local
there's never,
administration.
no, but you're not, the Arabs had more power then. So if you're saying that is the deciding factor, then it's obviously not true.
What do you? Why? How did they have more power? Because they had more land.
5 Arab armies versus uh, the newly formed state of Israel with only like 700,000 people in it.
That's not what I consider power. I consider economic power to be power.
How about military power?
I mean that kind of goes proportional to economic power.
Okay, well they had a lot more military, a lot more soldiers, a lot more tanks, a lot more aircrafts, and they all attacked Israel at the same time in 1940
I mean,
on three
you
occasions.
expect me to? As far as I know, there weren't this large fighting force that you claim that they are.
Oh my God, are you kidding me right now? Five Arab countries attacked Israel. Millions population. How many
Okay,
how
so
many
that's
how
different
many how
countries.
many
It's
Arabs
different
how
countries.
many millions of Arabs are there in total in the Middle East right now?
That's the middle you're referring to a button down. You're definitely referring
No,
into
just just
like
just enlighten me.
whataboutism
How
territory.
many millions of Arabs are there in the Middle East right now?
What does that have to do with the Palestinians? Probably fucking millions.
Palestinians or Arabs?
Palestinians are Arabs.
Yes.
I thought we covered that.
Yeah, yeah. They're and even and in 1948 they didn't exist as a national identity. They were just Arabs. Egyptians were
Okay,
Arabs, Jordanians were Arabs, Syrians were Arabs. These are all Arabs, and Haj Amin al-Husseini was the
right.
leader of the Arabs of the Arab League.
And all these different
Okay, can you acknowledge?
Arab countries
Can
have
you
a
acknowledge
lot of different interests. They don't all have the same interests. You know that, right?
they apparently had enough of the same interest to attack Israel at the same time together in on 3 occasions in 48, 67, and 73.
And you're saying that they started it,
Yeah,
basically.
I'm saying that they started it, sure.
And then was this before the British came?
No, the British left. Yeah, the British left by then. So when the war started in 48,
Oh,
the British
okay,
left.
exactly. So by the time that the Arabs were being oppressed because of Britain's bullshit,
Well, but Britain, are you saying Britain was oppressing all the Arabs in all the Arab states?
there were definitely
Do you know
it's definitely a lot. Not all of them. No,
why were the British there? Do you know? To do what?
to fucking colonize that shit and
But
fucking.
they were never intended on staying. So how would they colonize it?
They wanted to bring rule to it.
Who wanted to bring rule? The British or the League of Nations? Asked the British to do it.
Who the fuck? Oh,
That
like,
the League of Nations. Am I saying it's right? The League of Nations. Let me just check if I'm saying this right.
what is that?
That was the precursor to the United Nations.
Oh, we call it the. You call it the League of Nations.
It was called the League of Nations, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, League of Nations was the
Oh,
first
okay, that was the
worldwide
former name.
intergovernmental organization dedicated to maintaining world peace, established in January 1920, following the First World War, founded through the Paris Peace Conference. And after that, it then evolved to the United Nations. But the United Nations
Yeah, so they
had
just
all the same
allowed them. It
obligations.
wasn't.
The United
It wasn't
Nations,
like they were forced.
well, there was an agreement that they would come set up kind of countries, divide the Middle East, set up,
Yeah,
move away from like empires to nation states.
right.
Okay, But they weren't there to
Uh-huh.
colonize.
That's part of the colonization.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't see how you can say that if they never intended
That's
on staying.
literally like they wanted to set up colonies. That's what they did.
They
They,
wanted to set up nation states for the people living there.
oh, so they were just there to help them.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
and the French,
Is
by the
that
way.
what the British always did when they colonized?
Okay,
It was that was always what they did.
you have some sort of conspiracy. You haven't given me any
No, no, no.
you haven't given me anything this whole
It's not
time.
conspiracy. When the British ever, it's well known history that when the British went around and they went around and colonized the world, they left terror in the fucking wake of where they went. They went and they ravaged these fucking places.
Okay,
They stole their fucking artifacts. They still
Oh, slow down,
hold
Ty.
today.
Slow down. What terror did they? Okay, so in Israel,
We can go
there's
to
no
India.
the right. Okay, hold on. In Israel, there's no natural resources. There's no oil. Okay, so what did they do in Israel?
Okay. What did they do in Israel?
Yeah, there's no natural resources to speak of. What they do there? Colonize what? Sand dunes?
I'll tell you specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like before I even talk about anything else that they did, the main thing that steps out to me is that they just came in and they I mean, my main issue with what they did is that they just were there. It's not really the colonizing part that
Okay,
I'm just bringing up the fact that
first of all, can you slow down on your indigestion and say
I'm eating.
yeah, I can tell by the flatulence. But
Yeah,
can you you are against British being there? What are your thoughts on the Ottomans being there?
the Ottomans.
Yes, the one before the British.
I mean, I don't see them having. I mean, sure they brought influence with them, but the British were like fucking top dog around that time.
The Ottomans were top dog for 400 years.
I know, but they didn't last.
Neither did the British.
What are you talking about?
There's no British Empire anymore. The Ottoman Empire is gone. These are all empires, by the way.
Well, it's basically just the UK. Come on, England.
Right, there's no empires. These are all empires. The idea of moving away from empires and giving the locals their own nation states.
Um, I mean, my main issue is just that they came. It's not even like an issue. It's just the fact.
Is it
I'm just
because they're
pointing out.
white? Is it because they're white and you dislike white people doing this stuff?
I mean, that definitely goes into. I mean, I'm white myself, so
So you hate yourself.
I'm just aware that we as no, I'm aware that we as white people went around and fucking ravaged the fucking world
Yeah,
with all of our
the
money and
whole
influence.
Middle East were like periods of people of empires killing each other. Before the Ottomans, I don't remember on top of my head, but before the Ottomans, there was another empire, and then the Roman Empire was there at some point. Those white people again. I don't know. Do you consider Romans to be white because they're really close to the Middle East, or not really?
My problem with the British in particular
Yeah.
is that they still hold all the fucking bullshit that they did from when they colonized. It's not like they're not still there. Come on.
They're not.
They're
They're.
still there. They still why are all the artifacts that they stole from when they colonized still in those museums?
Are you talking about Israel?
No, not particularly. I'm
Okay,
just talking
so I don't
about
know.
in general. We're talking about for the British colonizing.
So the British did something particularly awful to Israel, and that's why the Arabs are continually fighting Israelis.
No, I'm saying that the British came and enabled Israel, and that is what caused this fighting.
Enabled in what sense? The British, by the way,
That
FYI.
they supported them with their policies.
Okay, hold on. The British
What was the specific
the
quote? Hold
British
on.
FYI supported both the Egyptians. They were in Egypt for a while, and they trained the Jordanians. The Jordanians before the Hashemite kingdom, the Jordanians were Arabs that worked with the British to overthrow the Ottoman Empire, and the British did train them very well. So the British did a lot of things to a lot of people in there for and against the people in the area. So who exactly when you say they enabled the Jews or the Israelis, who in what way did they enable them versus how they interacted with everyone else in the area?
I'll tell you right now. Boom. The Balfour Declaration handed out over the future of Palestine without considering the people who live there. It wasn't about peace or coexistence. It was
They
about
didn't. That's not true.
securing the British interests.
That wasn't true. It was an empty land.
If you say so. Well, that's just one
It's not
thing.
that they didn't consider them. All the people that they sent round to in the late 19th century sent round to that area said that area is almost entirely empty. So it's not like they didn't consider anyone there. There
So,
was just no one there to consider. Or very few people.
it was empty.
It
It
was
was
mostly
empty.
empty. It was mostly empty.
Fuck bullshit.
No, that's true.
You're fucking. That's a lie.
No. Do you want me to show you the people saying that it was mostly
I'm.
empty?
I'll do my own fact checking.
Okay, go ahead.
Doing it right now.
Oh, by the way, so sorry. When you think in 1948, when there was a fight and Arabs left Israel, do you think what's called the Nakba? Do you think that the Arabs that left Israel were always there, or do you think they immigrated there?
The region was well, hold on. The region was Arab majority,
The region was Arab
including Muslim.
majority in
Mm,
perhaps, but in what sense?
1917. 1970, including Muslims, Christians, along with small Jewish minority. It was 90%
But how did the
Arabs,
how? But
10% Jews.
I don't agree.
These are the. All right, I'll look up the sources on those numbers
Okay,
and I'll say them.
I'm just asking the 1.4 million people that were in Israel in 1.4 million Arabs that were in Israel in 1948. Do you think they just grew up there, or did they migrate there?
What at the time did they grow the Arabs
Yes, in
or
1940.
the? Yeah, the Arabs grew up there.
No, they migrated. Most of them migrated there
From where?
from Egypt and Syria, and basically they were economic migrants. Since there were migration since 1850, but it escalated with more Jews coming into Israel, bringing with them money and machinery. And with the British coming there as well, they needed the manual labor to get certain things done. And with the fact that Syria was doing very poorly, Egypt was doing very poorly economically, Arabs moved to the region to find work. I'm not saying there was zero Arabs prior to 1850, but a lot of them came in to find work for economic opportunity.
76%. It was 76% Muslim,
Muslim doesn't
10%
Muslim doesn't
Christians,
mean
13%.
excuse me. Muslim does not mean Arab.
Well, come on. Who do you think
Muslim,
is? You really think?
Ottomans, Kurds. Muslim does not mean Algerians. Ottomans does not mean Arab. Sorry,
Yeah, but most of the
Muslims does not
time,
mean Arab.
well, if we're talking, if we're talk realistically speaking, if we're talking about Muslims in the Middle East,
You
they're
just you
probably Arab.
no. You just had a period of time where the Ottomans were there for hundreds of years. And even if you go to
Uh,
Jerusalem, even if you go to Jerusalem at that time, there were like 20 different types of Muslims living there.
all right, fine. I'll find you information that proves that they were Arab. I guess.
But even if they were, even if Even if there was that doesn't mean they didn't come in as immigrants, which is the point I'm trying to make. Can you do this like on your own time, not in the middle of this debate?
I'm
I'm
sending
not.
you
I'm no. I'm not.
sources.
I'm not. I'm not gonna wait around. So make a quick decision
I'm
and
about to cite.
continue.
I'm about to cite this source right now.
Okay.
The Ottoman administrative records right here. Hold on. Don't get your panties in a twist.
I'm not. It's not a study hour.
It's not. I'm looking up sources to cite you. You don't have 2 seconds?
2 seconds passed.
Oh, come on. It's not very good faith of you, is it?
It's a debate. It's not a study hall.
It's not. That's why I just put that fucking source for you to look at.
I'm not gonna. You want me to read it right now? So source ChatGPT.
You can. I don't care. Yeah, I use it to look up the source. So what?
You know, ChatGPT doesn't actually read a lot of the stuff that ChatGPT like gives
Where
you.
are we here to
You
have a
click.
debate
You
about
click on
ChatGPT,
it.
or
I'm just
are we here?
FYI.
Are we,
The stuff
are we here
ChatGPT
to
gives
have
it to you. You click on it. It doesn't actually say what ChatGPT
genetic
said it would say.
fallacy? It's a genetic. That's a genetic fallacy. You're worrying about where
ChatGPT
I
is a
got my
genetic
content from,
fallacy.
not. Yes, because you're arguing about where I got my information from, not the
No,
actual information itself.
your link includes in
That's
the URL
ChatGPT is not the source.
UTM source equals chatgpt.com. You sent me this link.
Because that link was provided from ChatGPT, and you can
And
click the link and it'll
I'm
take you.
saying that ChatGPT, when I've used it, when it gives you a link, it says this link says these things. When you click on the link, it doesn't actually say the things that ChatGPT says it does. And it's quite embarrassing,
Really?
especially when and it's quite embarrassing, especially when you do those
Okay,
kinds of
please,
things.
please, go ahead, please.
Please, what?
Look into it.
I'm
If you
not
think
gonna
that
read your links right.
you don't think that
I'm not gonna read your links right now. I have covered already this area, and there's a debate between the people who count these numbers as to how these numbers arrived and who they are.
well, it's
And
just so funny that you
there's
do
two
that
sides.
because like
There's
you
listen to me.
no, that's so
I'm answering I'm answering the things you sent me. There's two ways of historians or demographers look at this. One is that the Muslims were there, or the Arabs were there. And by the way, 150,000 of those Muslims were Arabs, but they were nomadic Arabs, or Bedouin. They traveled around, and they didn't actually own the land or settle on the land, but they came when the season was better for their sheep and stuff like that. Um,
uh-huh. Where are you getting all this from?
well, the same people that would tell you
It,
there was X amount of Muslims that would tell you what I just told you. The same
oh, so
sources.
you're just so willing to like tell
I've
me
studied
your
this.
information, but it's true. Did you? Where?
Yes, and I'm just
Where?
let me just make my point,
In
and
your
you
study
let me
hall?
just make my point, and then you could go and research it later. That's fine. So there's two kinds of ways of people who count the numbers. I think one camp says that there was a large Muslim population, which, by the way, I can't find in the capital city in the large cities. It didn't seem like
Mm-hmm.
they settled in the numbers that people are setting in the cities, so they must have been like spread out in the sand dunes, because I really can find, usually like when large populations live in a particular country, they live in the cities. They did not. So I can't really find where they're spread out. But there is a sort of consensus that at least two-thirds of the number, by the time we're talking about the 1920s or the 1940s, came there as economic migrants, because there's no borders or anything. Came there as illegal economic migrants. They weren't born on the land. They don't have British mandatory of Palestine passports or certificates. They came illegally to the land to look for work. Illegally in quotations, because there's no borders you can just walk through, right? Um, and so the two camps, either they were there, they were living there, or the other is that at least two-thirds of them came as economic migrants. I'm in the the latter camp.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to the point because it's
Well,
getting a
I
bit
just
late.
wanted to.
So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so
I just.
we're saying British colonized the
Well,
Arabs. They all
I first want to ask you. I first want to ask you about this
sure,
image that you shared with me.
sure.
Where'd you get this 90% number from?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
In the chat. I just put in the chat. Remember you
Oh,
shared this?
this.
Yeah,
Oh, that.
yeah.
The United Nations.
Did you ever like look into it?
I think some people like are questioning that. I think that if you take like the 20th century wars, you mean civilian to combatant ratio, yeah?
Yeah, the 90% number.
Yeah, so the 90% number basically is a qualification from a civilian to combatant ratio that happens in wars, and typically in wars, a lot of civilians die. I don't know how we jumped to this topic though, because we still haven't concluded the main
It was
one.
because it was just like I looked into it and it just it was like completely misleading. Like because
Okay,
that
so
number.
I would state that in most other wars, the civilian to combat ratio are either 9 to 1 or 5 to 1, especially in if you look at the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war, I mean recent one, sorry. It's something like between 5 to 1 and 9 to 1, and urban war is there tends to be a higher civilian to combatant ratio.
I just remember I cited you. I remember you shared the source that you got it from, and even in that, it was saying that wasn't like
But there is a United Nations
the
source that says
average
that.
or something like that. It's just not accurate.
Well, you can
that's
complain,
not
then
accurate.
complain to the United Nations.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying like you shouldn't share like misleading information that compares a 90% casualty rate and then 13% Hamas rate. Like that was completely blown out of proportions. Those
No,
numbers were
hold on.
cherry picked like
Hold on.
fuck.
I don't think. Okay, so this is. Have you read the Gaza Health Ministry report?
Why?
Because these are based off those reports. Have you read any one of their reports? That it's once a
Are
month.
you just knowledge checking me? What are you trying to get at?
I'm trying to get an answer. If you've read the
Yeah. Why?
you've read it. Which month?
Uh-huh. Which month?
Yes, for which month have you read it?
Uh,
They
October.
release one once a month. Sorry.
October.
Okay, and where did you obtain it from? Just so I'm clear.
The internet.
A bit more specific.
Oh, I don't have the link right off my hand. Why?
Which platform on the internet did you obtain the report from? Because you didn't actually read it.
Safari.
You're
So
making
are you just concerned
so okay. So
if
basically,
I are you just concerned if I read? Because like it's just I'm just
for
like what's
those
your point?
listening, the
No,
Gaza has the
I'm
Gaza
just
Health
feeding you
Ministry.
bullshit.
Yeah, I'm smelling your bullshit from over here. The Gaza Health
Yeah, I know.
Ministry
I'm doing it because it's
releases.
just
Let me
pointless.
finish my fucking
What you're doing is
sentence.
pointless.
Let me finish my fucking
Well, you're just
sentence.
so bad faith. I really don't want to
Let me
let you.
finish my
You're just so
sentence.
bad faith.
If for those who want to read it themselves, the Gaza Health Ministry releases uh, their report once a month, usually at the end of the month, on Telegram, and you can download that. You can try and translate that with a translator, and you can see the numbers for themselves. And for those, and it's important to do this, especially if someone is a journalist, because they they change their numbers, they cover their butts all the time. You can see like IDs on one report with a different age on
It
another.
was
There was a recent
50%.
study by the Jason Jackson Society, and they compare these reports because one report says here's an ID of someone, here's their name, they're 20-year-old. Then 2 months later, on a different report, they're actually 1-year-old. On one report, it's a male, and then one report 1 month later, it's a female. So these sorts of things really kind of make you doubt what's going on in these reports. But basically, what the image that you're citing me is based off those reports, off those Gaza Hezbollah reports. So they're saying
What am I citing you?
the image
What
that
did I
you
cite you this?
the image that you sent me with the 90% is based off. I mean,
Yeah, that was
apart
what
from the
you. That's
90%,
what you shared.
all the other numbers are based on their reports.
That was your image
Well, okay, sure.
that you shared.
You want me to go over the numbers and explain what they mean?
Yeah, because it was
Great.
just bullshit. Because
So this
that
is
no, hold on. Let me talk. Let me talk. You were talking for a long time there.
sure.
That number, you referenced the study, and it was from William Eckhart. Okay, the civilian casualty rate is around 50%, not 90.
Okay, sure.
So
That's not
it was
relevant.
just misleading.
That's not relevant to any of the other numbers. That's like a side number.
Yeah, but the fact that you like that you referenced it with that image that had it like so highlighted that other wars were just like casually like 90%.
On average.
That's just like extremely
That okay, look, any way you want to slice it, you're not complaining about me. You're not complaining about this. You're complaining about what the UN said.
I am complaining about you because you shared this
Okay, well, you complain till tomorrow because
image to like
this is what
suggest that
you
like
can complain till tomorrow. This is what the UN cited.
no, I'm just saying like you should look into the things that you before you
No,
share them.
you
Since
said
you say
that.
that like I
You said that.
since you said
You,
that I should
you
look
said
into
that.
what I get from ChatGPT, like since I don't read anything, you should read in to the images that you share and the numbers.
I am familiar with the
Did you
arguments around
study
it.
this?
I'm familiar with the arguments around it. I'm still quite confident that certainly urban warfare is 9-1, which is 90%.
Based off what?
The likelihood of civilians living in that area and dying in the war zone, which is their city.
What type of evidence do you have to support this?
I looked into
This
it once.
number that you've
I
come up
looked
with?
into it once. I can't remember off the top of my head. I just like inquired into this. Is like taking me back 15
Oh
months
yeah,
at least.
I'll just take it. Yeah, I'll just take
But I
your
but
source and trust me, bro.
but you trust you. I'll trust ChatGPT more. But the other numbers here
It's
is
not
the
that you should
relevant.
trust ChatGPT. You should
The
you
other
should
numbers here are the more relevant part, right? So
what no
basically, the graph that you're referring to kind of says that the civilian losses in this Gaza war are abnormally low, and that the Israeli army took extremely effective and difficult decisions to protect civilians above the operational goals that they were trying to militarily obtain. And as a result, a very abnormally low number of civilians die based on the chart that you've just shared with me. And then the comparison is 1-1 versus the 9-1. If you want to do 1-1 versus 5-1, that's fine with me. You want to do 1-1 versus 3-1, that's still fine with me. But either way you slice it, the civilian to combatant ratio is still very low for Gaza. And if you want to say, well, look, the number of bombs that they dropped, yeah, the number of bombs that dropped is high versus how many people actually died is low. That means for like every bomb, there's like 0-1 civilian died. So any way you slice it, the civilian death rate is abnormally low.
I completely disagree.
I'm sure you do, but
I
you
think
shared the graph.
I think that well I know that's your graph. Let's not
Okay.
forget that. So like you're saying that you think that this is low. I would say that it's average, if anything.
Average
And
compared to who? Compared to which conflict?
compared to the average casualty rate,
Of all wars? No, I don't agree.
it's close to it.
No, I don't agree at all.
Not extremely, not
Okay, so
extremely,
so
but it's
which war did
small.
the invading army tell the citizens to get out, or they gave them, like, they dropped leaflets with maps saying we're coming from this direction, you should go to the other direction, and basically telegraphing their every military move to both the enemy and the civilians. No one's done that. No one ever.
So you're saying that because they did that, they were just justified,
No, I'm saying
and
that
whoever
these
they
sorts of things.
slaughtered, whoever didn't read it.
Listen to me. I'm saying then they drop flyers. They explain to people where to go, where they're coming in from. But bear in mind, them doing that gives away their position, so it's risking their own soldiers' lives, so that the enemy's civilians will get out of the way. So no one's done that. No one's like done roof knocking with, like, where they tap the roof and say leave quickly. Or no one's phoned the people in the building saying get out now. No one's done any of those things. Name an army that's done that. No one.
You know what? The fact that you mentioned that, it reminds me how
You want to answer my question?
also no one generally has ever attacked. This is just a straw man. I'm not really gonna engage
How
in
is it a strawman? Well, this is the actual policies of the Israeli army to take steps that no other army has taken to prevent civilian casualties. How is that a strawman? That's literally extremely relevant to your point.
that. No, no, that's not what my point is. That they weren't careful enough.
Okay, what is your point then?
That's not what my point was. That it's not. My point is that they didn't. It's not that they cared about being careful. That was just a warning, telling people to get out. Anyone that didn't is getting slaughtered.
Yes, but when they tell the people to get out, bear in mind they're also telling the terrorists and their equipment and their maps
Just
and all the
because they
terrorists to get
say get
out.
out of here, just because they said get out ahead of time, doesn't mean that it gives them the right to invade and slaughter all the
No, first of all,
civilians that they do.
first of all,
Not at all.
okay, why do you think they have the right to be in Gaza right now? They do have the right.
The
Why do you think they
right?
have? Yes, the right.
No,
Okay. Would you
they by
say?
far.
Let me explain how international and international law works, and how military and how wars work. What would you
Okay,
call
you did it.
what Hamas did on October
Yeah.
7th? Well, how would you define that event of October 7th? With using what words?
It was a terrorist attack. It was a terrorist
Any
attack.
other words? It was much more.
No. Do you have any?
It was not a terrorist. It was not a terrorist attack. It was much worse than that. A terrorist attack, if you mean like a guerrilla attack, where like you bomb a bus and then you either
Well,
go back to where you
basically,
came from. That wasn't what happened.
from my understanding, they never thought that they were gonna. Yeah. So from my understanding, they never
I don't need
perceived that they were.
I don't
Are you
need
gonna
I
let me
don't need
finish?
what they
Are you gonna
thought.
let me
I'm
fucking
just
finish?
asking, define what happened.
Yeah, they thought they weren't going to get over the fucking blockade. They did. They didn't have a plan.
That's
Then
not
they
true.
did terrorism.
That's not true.
Yeah,
That's not true.
yeah,
They planned it for
yeah. It is.
excuse me. They planned this for 2 years. They trained for it
What did they have?
outside
So what did they
outside the
have? So you
country.
tell me that. What evidence do you have to support that the plan for once they got over was to just slaughter people?
They had documentations on them. They had
Please share it. Share it. I need to see that.
okay, good
You're
for
making a
you.
big claim there, bud.
Shut the fuck up. You have no clue of the slightest. You're getting your information from Discord servers and
Oh,
4chan.
here we go
Go
with the
read, go read.
gaslighting.
You don't know what you're talking
Here
about.
we go with the gaslighting. Fuck out of here. Yeah, just gaslight
You
me some
want
more. I have no clue what I'm talking
you
about.
wanna
Let me get
see
all my
you
information
wanna
from you.
see what are you asking for? Documents that the IDF captured from terrorists that they had on them? Intel?
I
What are
want
you asking
document.
to see?
I want proof that them
Who are
You
you?
said they were
Well, hold on.
planning, and you got
Who
proof.
are you to
I
ask
want
for
to
this
see
proof?
proof.
Who are you to ask for this proof, though?
We're having a debate. You made a claim. I'm asking you the burden of
Right,
proof
but who are you? Look,
is on you.
no,
Fuck out of here.
you're asking for military grade intelligence. Who are you to be able to?
No, I'm not. I'm
yes, you
asking
are.
for public available info.
It's not.
If this is true,
Listen.
how do you know it's true then? How do you
Listen.
know if you're telling me you got military access info and you got behind the scenes information? You're
Listen to
letting
me.
me know that right now?
Listen to me.
Fuck out of here.
Okay, so
You're full of shit.
what do you okay, what do you think did happen on October? Were people killed on October 7th? Were Israelis killed?
Yeah.
Were women raped?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay. Were babies burnt alive?
Possibly.
Okay.
I think.
Okay,
I
so
don't
I'm gonna say something that, and I'm not gonna give you, unless you maybe read the Wall Street Journal, I'm not gonna give you military information as to what happened. But generally, the idea was to invade Israel with
but you have it. You got it, right?
You can read this in newspapers if you want. The
Oh,
idea
but you
was
can't send me the fucking newspaper.
I can send you the newspapers.
Well, that's what the fuck I'm asking for.
Okay, but I'm telling you what it says first. Right? The idea, they were training for this for 2 years. This was coordinated with the IRCG, and it was also coordinated with Hezbollah. Before October 7 happened, Hezbollah were moving rockets closer to the border, and as a result, Israel thought that something's happening up north. They diverted their attention and their vehicles and all their equipment up north.
Okay.
In the south, they reduced their activity, so you couldn't see what was going on. And by the way, all these sorts of communications were done on a very, very low tech.
So what does this do to prove that
what's important? What's important is when they invaded Israel, they trained for
constantly.
They trained for this for a long time. They knew exactly what they were doing. 6,000 people crossed the border on October 7th from Gaza into Israel. 3,800 were mainly Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Fatah, PFLP, and the other 2,200 were Gazan civilians who tagged along. They came in. This was the first wave out of two. The first wave was supposed to just kill door to door the kibbutzim, the socialist farming communities, and then the next division was supposed to head in two directions: one to Tel Aviv and one to Dimona. Where Dimona does a nuclear power plant, and also the suspected nuclear weapons that Israel houses. So that was the plan, and the plan was also to coordinate it with Hezbollah, which they didn't do, but that was the original plan. That Hezbollah fires stuff from the north, Hamas attacks from the south.
How do we know?
That was the point.
Send me this.
Yeah, okay.
Send me this article.
I'll send you the article after the debate. That was the idea.
Whoa,
but for some,
after the debate, you don't want me to look into this.
I'll send it to you. I'm happy to look into it.
Send it to me right now, not after the debate.
But to do what? To read it right now as I'm explaining.
So I can look into it.
Yes.
I
will do that.
I want to fact check you.
Go ahead. I will do that. Just let me finish what I'm trying to say. So the idea was that they do it at the same time. To do it at the same time, but for some reason Hamas went ahead, did it without Hezbollah. And so anyway, the point is this. Hamas invaded Israel. They did what is called a genocide. Okay? As per the Geneva Convention on Genocide, Israel is morally obligated to take robust steps to prevent this sort of thing from happening again to its people. Okay? That is why it started the war. That is why Israel is...
fuck out of here.
Well, that is why Israel is morally obligated to go into Gaza and remove Hamas.
That shit was a fucking terrorist attack.
I didn't ask your opinion. I'm stating to you how laws work.
It was not a genocide. There was nothing systematic about it.
They systematically went door to door and killed people.
What? It was one fucking attack. You're saying going door to door is fucking a system is systematic? Get the fuck out of here.
It is systematic. They went door to door, but
no, it's not. That's
people.
Not what systematic means.
That is systematic.
You're grossly misrepresenting what systematic means. No, I'm not.
Indiscriminately went into Israel.
I'm sick of you fucking talking over me, cutting me. I'm just gonna start talking over you if you're gonna do that shit.
Okay, I
Do you
don't know
want to have
how.
a discussion? Or do you want to talk over each other?
Okay, what? Why wouldn't you say it's a genocide? Why is it not a genocide?
I mean, I think it is a genocide because there's multiple scholars that fucking have decided that this is a genocide, and that's usually how fucking genocides are
So
found
October
out
7 was a
before they're
genocide,
actually
yeah?
before they're what?
So October
Uh,
7, you agree that
oh,
October
October
7 was.
7th? Oh
Yes.
no, no, no. I'm
Okay,
talking. I was talking about what's going on in Gaza.
okay, so why is October 7 not a genocide?
It was a terrorist attack. It
This
was not systematic whatsoever.
It was definitely systematic, it was definitely planned. They definitely
No, it
killed
wasn't.
people. Okay, well look, I don't no it wasn't isn't really an argument. But either way, this is the reason why Israel can go in and remove Hamas, and why all
This was
you
one specific.
as you
You
may have
can't say
seen,
one specific attack. One attack
as you
is
may have
not
seen,
systematic.
as you
That's
may
not. That's not what. That's not what Hitler did. That's
as
not
you
what
may have
any
seen,
fucking genocidal.
as you may have seen, all the people in most
Jesus
people in
Christ.
the world agreed with my legal claim right now. They said that Israel has the right to defend itself.
It was a
This is the claim.
terrorist attack because it was meant to strike fear into the civilians' hearts. It was about revenge.
A terrorist attack, or what you
It
call it.
wasn't about just. It wasn't. It wasn't about killing as many people as possible. It
No, it
wasn't about
was.
reducing the
It
size of a
was.
group.
It was about killing as many people
No,
as
it
possible.
wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, no, it wasn't. It
Their
was about
actions,
revenge. It was ideological. It was ideologically driven, well, sort of.
their actions were consistent with killing as many people as possible.
So what? The,
So that qualifies. That qualifies
so
as.
just like every fucking so is every okay is every mass shooting a genocide?
Is it like a group versus group thing, or a person versus another person?
This is like school shooters versus the school.
Yeah, that's not a group. That's not like like a country versus a nation versus a nation thing, is it? It's not.
So Hamas is a nation.
Hamas is the leader, is the democratically elected government of Gaza.
Oh, you're so fucking semantical.
Well, it's important in law, wouldn't you say?
No,
Well,
it's
anyway,
extremely unproductive.
so it's
It's
not so.
extremely unproductive.
So we can agree.
No. Hamas has been defined as a fucking terrorist group by the United States government.
Okay,
Okay,
sure,
not a government.
but
They're not recognized as
they
government.
are the elected government.
They're not. They're not. They're
Well, they were at least. I don't know.
fucking. I forget they're not a fucking actual government. It's unofficial as fuck.
Okay, so I've not. Maybe it's unofficial as fuck, and maybe the idea was that because of the Oslo Accords, that these regions at some point graduate to be a nation. That was they're on the path to be a nation, and that's why they had democratic elections. So they had someone to govern them, and that they can have like a police and courts and all these things that government gives you, rule of law and
Exactly.
order.
Now
Yeah,
you're getting somewhere.
they
Now
did
you're
those
getting
things.
somewhere.
They did those things. They were the police in
Yes,
Gaza.
to get yes, exactly. So to get towards being a legitimate government, but they were not a legitimate government.
They were legitimate government in a kind of quasi state that wasn't a full state.
Yeah, in your quasi sense, sure. They were they
Okay,
had
so we have an agreement why Israel
government abilities.
Okay, so
But they're not an actual government.
okay, so now we understand why the IDF went into Gaza military trying to remove Hamas, right? They didn't go there to slaughter people. Obviously, if they were trying to prevent or reduce casualties, we already agreed on that they had policies to reduce casualties. They weren't trying to slaughter people. They were trying to remove Hamas specifically.
And just happened to shoot like all those little kids on the way.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, you have no idea about the little kids that got shot.
They shot little kids
by the
on the way?
snipers. Yeah, the snipers. The you
Oh
talking
my
about
fucking god!
Israelis.
Are you serious right now? I know what you're talking about. Are you serious? Do you think like a sniper bullet just sticks into a child that doesn't exit it and cause like a bowling-sized hole in their body, especially a younger child. It's fake as fuck.
You're saying, oh, really?
Yeah,
Really? Was it?
really.
What's fake about it? Please tell me.
Well, if you take like a watermelon, right? If you take like a sniper rifle, even from a
It
distance,
depends what caliber, dumbass.
any caliber that's in a sniper rifle, dumbass, would do that.
No, 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 no,
No, no, no, no. Okay,
no.
enlighten
No,
me.
that's not fucking true. You don't know what you have no idea. You have no idea what you're
I
talking
I
about. You're
was
talking,
I
yeah, if that
was
was a fucking 50 caliber BMG.
I
If it was
was
a 50 caliber
I was
BMG, yeah,
50.
sure, it would fucking rip that child to
How
shreds.
many years?
That's not the caliber that
How many years
they
in
were
the
carrying.
any caliber would
No,
shred the jet.
it was more of an assault rifle caliber.
Even an assault rifle caliber would do that. How many? Look, have you fired weapons before?
Why does that matter?
Do you have
Why are you
experience?
asking me about
Do
my
you have
personal
experience?
experiences?
Do you have experience with these things? Do you like
I'm
watch
knowledgeable with guns. I'm absolutely knowledgeable about guns.
handguns or rifles?
Any gun.
Rifles.
Sure.
Okay. Can I just ask? Do you know that I'm just gonna say I was 3 years in the army because it's mandatory service. So I'm just a bit.
Okay.
I may be a bit more familiar than you are. Anyway,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
familiar.
Cool.
I know about this story. It was like when it came out, like when the doctors like pulled like a shiny 556 round that no way did go into anyone, especially not a young child. And then later it was dunked on because you had like an X-ray of it. It was dunked on heavily by a lot of other people. I don't need to debunk it. It's been debunked thoroughly already. It was funny when it came out, and then it was dunked like a day or two later. Everyone who had any sort of army
So
experience dunked on it.
your whole argument is this has been debunked. I'm not going to debunk
Well,
it. Nice fucking
in
rebuttal.
any way you want to look at it,
I'm from the army. This has been debunked.
this is
Nice fucking
irrelevant.
rebuttal. That was
This is
fucking trash.
irrelevant. This is relevant because
But you're just unable to respond to it.
no, I
Sure,
responded to it.
but
It's dumb as fuck. But the
it's
point is
really
that
not.
the
It's really
overall
not.
numbers, yeah, it was fake. Come on,
Those
man.
kids were shot. Those kids were shot.
By Israel, how do you
They
know?
were killed.
How do you know?
That's literally what. Bro, who else the fuck were they shot by?
Hamas.
Hamas. You're
Yes.
saying that all those kids that were shot were from Hamas.
Hamas shoot their own people several times a day.
Get the fuck out of here! You're so full of shit.
Are you saying I'm lying?
Yes,
Why do you think I'm lying?
because you just made the most fucking irrational statement.
Do you want me
I
to
just
show?
said
Do you want me?
all those kids that were
Do you want me to show you a video of Hamas
killed
shooting the? Do
by
you want me to show you a
IDF. You didn't say
video?
any kid that was killed by the IDF.
Do you want me to show you a
No,
video?
shut up. Shut up. Stop talking over me. You just said that all those kids that were killed by the IDF must have been killed by Hamas. That is
No,
completely
I'm
fucking
asking. That's not what
illogical.
I'm saying. I'm asking you.
That's
I'm
what
asking you
you just fucking
I'm asking
said.
you how do you know? That's all I'm asking. And you said, where else would they come from? They could come from Hamas.
Because that's what's in the reports, buddy.
Whose reports?
I'll tell you right now. You want me to use ChatGPT
Oh,
to
please, God,
link
don't
you
use
links, or you're
ChatGPT.
just gonna be like,
Yeah, but
I
so
mean, that's what I'm gonna use.
I'm just saying, does the bullet have like an address on it came from Israel? I just want to know, like, how do you know it's from Israel? Because there was this another
I'm saying
report
right now.
where this girl died and she was lit and where she was littered with the 762 millimeter bullets, and that's from AK-47s, not like usual Israeli army stuff.
You give me 2 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this not a study hall?
Okay, yeah, it's not the
I'm
study hall.
sorry.
In general,
Yeah, no. I got you.
the overall
Well, so you're gonna say that
the overall
Jenin
numbers.
incident in December 2023, the
Let's see if we can agree on something.
16-year-old Palestinian girl.
Let's see.
You're saying that it
Let's
was
see
an
if we can
IDF
agree on something.
operation.
Let's see if we can agree on something. The overall numbers, can we agree on that? That Israel had a low civilian to combatant ratio?
gonna fact check that. I'll tell you in a second.
Uh,
I'm not gonna
you
just tell you
you
what I
you
think.
tell me what you
I'm
think.
gonna actually look up the numbers,
Sure.
and I'm gonna make an informed decision.
Okay, so what I'm asking for when you're looking for the numbers is what you think the civilian to combatant ratio for this Gaza war, okay? And I'm saying it's low. Anything, let's say if it's five civilians to one, then it's average. Let's say I'll agree with your average. And if it's like 20 to 1, 20 civilians to one combatant, then this is odd and something's gone wrong. Even okay, so go ahead. Tell me what you think that number is.
Uh, so let's see. Oh, I got the numbers right here. Um, so with the average being around,
No, just answer the question. What is the civilian to combatant ratio in this recent war?
well, there's about 46,000 Palestinians that have been killed. So what is that to? I need to figure out what is that to the 50% number.
Well, that would mean that half of those were combatants.
So yeah, so it was 50%,
Sorry,
right?
let me just make sure what you mean. What do you mean by 50%? The 90%,
What
50%?
are
Or
you
do you
saying? How you saying? Oh,
I,
hold on. I'll tell you. I'll give you a definite answer. Just
okay?
hold on. You give me my study hall moments here. You gotta.
Just
If you want to be good faith, you gotta give me a second to at least try to be good faith on my side as well. Okay, I can't bring up specific details off the top of my head. I'm not a computer. Okay, I need some fucking help. Whether I get it from ChatGPT
I don't look
or Google
normally.
doesn't really fucking matter.
Can I just say in usual debates or like in moderated debates, if you use a AI in the middle, you get disqualified.
Oh, really?
Really.
So you can't use any type of sources whatsoever.
You can come with
Okay.
sources to the debate. You can't search, you can't like have AI help you debate.
I'm not. No, that's not. I'm not. You think I'm getting my responses from? I'm getting sources. I'm using it like Google. Are you not allowed to use Google?
Okay, look,
Is that does that get you disqualified?
when can I get an answer from my question? Give me like an
I
estimate
don't
here.
know. As soon as you stop getting your fucking panties in it, because I've been trying to fucking look this shit up. You keep distracting me. Any percentage. I'm not. I'm looking this shit up, but I'm not using this shit to fucking form arguments. So nice try. Okay. Yeah, it's 50% total of the total casualties is
Is
civilian.
so 1 to 1.
Yeah, so this is just the average. It's
No,
average, like I said it
the
was.
average is 5 to 1.
No, the average is 50%.
I don't 50%. Okay, yes,
According
50%,
to
50% in the way you're phrasing it, right? So the 90% figure that you were complaining about was converted from 9 to 1. The 9 to 1 meaning that out of 10 people that died during the war, 9 were civilians, 1 was combatant. 50% would mean that out of 5 people, 4 was, well, I hope I'm doing this right. 4 were civilian, 1 was combatant. And that's 4 to 1. Sorry, 5 was civilian, one was combatant. Here it's 1 to 1. That means out of the 50% in this different context is that from the 46,000 you read, half were combatant, like 23,000
yes,
combatants, 23,000 civilians.
yes.
Okay, so that's low. That's good. It's positive.
That's
That's
low.
what you want. You want civilians to be protected as much as possible, and this is one of the
26,000.
obviously wars are terrible, and you want to avoid them as much as possible. And Israel never wanted to begin this war at all because obviously it lost its own soldiers. It has injuries. It's very difficult on a variety of different things. They
Whoa,
never
whoa,
it
whoa,
went,
hold
never
on,
wanted to
hold
do
on,
it.
hold on. Those numbers. No, hold on. Because it says right here that that most of those more than half of those that 46,000 is women, children, and the elderly. So
No,
there's something
that's
wrong
not
about
true.
those
That's
numbers.
not true. It's 64%.
This is according to Reuters.
Hold on.
This is according to Reuters
Reuters and
or whatever.
64%. It's different. 64% of those numbers were or men between the ages of 15 to 45. And 15 is considered a child, but
No, it
Hamas,
says
I'm explaining it to you.
yeah. It says no. It says right here that the campaign in Gaza killed more than 46,000 people, with just over a half identified victims being women, children, or older people. It's what it says, word for word. I'm quoting.
Okay, so I would say that a statistician, a professor for statistics, did an evaluation on those numbers and the distribution that you just referenced with regards to who is a child, who is a woman, who is an older person, and who is a man is completely fabricated. It's the same.
Oh, so you're just saying I'm just
Let me
reading
finish.
lies? I see.
Let me finish.
Lies.
Let me finish. It is the
That's
same.
fucking
It is the
bullshit.
same thing when they evaluate people who cheat on their taxes and they just allocate numbers to be able to then cheat at the end result. It was confirmed it was the same thing. It's statistically impossible that those distributions is as you're describing. Now, what I would say is that the majority of people who died are between 15 and 45. Notice that 15 to 18 would count as a child, but Hamas does recruit in this age range. Now, if you take just the civilians, you would reach something like 73% of the civilian deaths would be women and children.
All right. Let's just move away from.
Okay. Well, so
I
but
want to switch. I want to switch.
oh, switch to what?
I want to switch to the do you think that there's only 34 people that have starved
47.
in Gaza? Or
For
47?
yeah,
Yeah, you think that numbers? You think that's a real number? You think that that's how many
47
people are really starving?
47 is a real number, yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
Okay. The people who
Then,
said
then
let me ask, the people who celebrated now the victory that they won in Gaza, did they look malnourished to you? All the
it's
videos.
not what I care about.
Listen,
I
buddy.
don't care about fucking videos.
I'm just asking for you to observe.
You you
I'm just
you
asking you to
want me to
observe
care
the
about fucking TikToks?
forget TikToks. Go to like any mainstream news channel that shows you a video of Gazans celebrating, yeah, en masse in the street. Do any of them look
That
starving to you?
don't you know who looks starving to me? The videos that I seen of them running for their lives for that humanitarian aid, scooping it out of the fucking ground after a bag done fell out of a crate that the parachute must have like fucked up, and the crate done fell on the ground and busted the bag of flour, and this motherfucker is scooping the stand and flour to just get the flour,
A
hopefully,
picture is
and to
not
worry about the sand later.
a
Come
picture.
on.
A
It
picture
wasn't
is
a picture, it was a video. It was a video. It was a video, and they were scooping that shit up, and they weren't even the focus of the video. They were
okay.
just walking past that person.
I call bullshit. Okay,
I wish I had that fucking video to show you.
I call
I
bullshit.
wish I
No,
had that fucking
I'm
video.
not disagreeing with you that you saw something like that. I call bullshit on the starvation, and I've got plenty of numbers to
I,
prove it.
I call bullshit on that, citing the fact that there was a fucking a letter sent to fucking Biden from 99 fucking physicians saying that they estimated that there was thousands of fucking people that they were treating for starvation.
So just because they're doctors I should believe them. There were doctors that said
There
that.
was 99 of them.
Okay,
99 of them.
okay. There were doctors in the
There was a
there were
consensus.
doctors
There
in
was a
the.
consensus of doctors.
I'm sure all the 99 agreed, but if you recall the Al Ali hospital bombing on October 17th that said that 600 people died because Israel, in quotation, bombed the hospital, turned out to be fake, and it wasn't even close to 600 people who died. It was less than 50. The doctors had to whip out people from cold storage, put it in front of the camera and say Israel hurt us. So why should I, so if doctors say it here, why should I believe doctors saying it there? Even the senior doctor in some hospital was a colonel in Hamas. Why should I believe the doctors?
Because there's fucking 99 of them. It's a
Look, can
consensus.
you have this thing where you focus on a very narrow
99 of them
picture?
fucking agreed.
No, okay, you have this thing where you focus on a very narrow picture and not the overall numbers. You're not looking at the big
You
picture.
know, you're focusing on the fact that this isn't a fucking. You're just like, oh no, this isn't a fucking. There's nobody starving. There's only 34. You really think that that's fucking realistic? I mean, come on. What's the need for the whole humanitarian aid? You
There's
don't
right.
send humanitarian
Look,
aid if there's fucking 40 people starving.
here, let
We
me
have
show
way
you.
more than 40 people starving. No, shut up. We have way more than 40 fucking people starving in the fucking US right now. And you're gonna sit here and tell me that there's only 40 people
47 people
in
died of
Gaza
starvation.
starving.
Yeah, there's
Whatever, I'm rounding down.
how many trucks a day does Kogat, the unit responsible for letting them in, say went into Gaza? You can track all
What?
these numbers.
What numbers are you citing?
Kogat is the unit that lets in trucks into Gaza. How many and base and they It's always available online. They have like a spreadsheet you can download. They say on Twitter every day how much trucks will let in, and it's all open source. It's all available public data. How many trucks will let in?
Mm-hmm. You're asking me for specific data.
Well, I can't send you this video. Um, so it depends. I can send you some actually if you want specific data, but I'll consider a bit older data. Here, this is not my work, but this is some guy who evaluated this. If I can just open it. This is a guy who had access to the data, and he did like comparison versus how many. Well, it's a private message. How many calories people received? Basically, the position is that the Palestinians received roughly around 3,000 to 3,200 calories per day per person. There were moments where there were like crossing closures because of particular reasons, but this guy kind of aggregates it all together and does like a red line, a yellow line, and a green line, and tries to connect the dots.
I just sent you that video of them running for the fucking humanitarian aid.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, if you look at that video and you tell me that those people aren't desperate,
I think
that
I think I think
they're
that you could make a claim that the distribution from, let's say, the people in South Gaza had plenty of food, the people in North Gaza maybe had less. You could make a claim that the distribution wasn't great. That's not Israel's job, though. Israel's job is just to let it in.
no. Yeah, exactly. So like they shouldn't have the fucking blockade.
No, what do you mean they shouldn't have the blockade? There's 5 open
The blockade is
crossings.
what the blockade is all. If they didn't have the blockade, they wouldn't need the fucking humanitarian aid.
If they
The
didn't
whole
have the
reason they
block,
can't get food in is because the blockade.
if they didn't have the blockade, you'd have October 7 every day of the week.
Oh yeah, based off fucking
What
what?
what happened in October 7? Did they cross the border? The border was open for a few minutes?
Why were they attacking the fucking border?
To
Because
cross the
there is a
border?
fucking border.
To cross the
Because there's
border?
a fucking border.
Yeah,
They're keeping them locked in.
that's the land of Israel, and Gaza is not part of it.
It's just fucking bullshit, dog.
So
It's just crazy that
look,
you find this justifiable in any sort of way.
in any which case, you have like a whole stockpile of food on the Gazan side of the border. You have like 800 trucks worth that no one's picking up and distributing, and some stuff has been there for so long. It's been over a year. They have to throw it away. Why isn't anyone picking it up and distributing it?
I guess maybe Hamas stole it and they're hiding it, right?
Okay, but they do steal it from the NGOs, but the NGOs still have to come pick it up and distribute it.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the Palestinians whatsoever? People are not distributing the aid.
What does that have to do with?
My problem is that they need aid in the first
Israel
place.
Israel is letting in aid. The fact that some Palestinians are not getting it is not Israel's fault.
What don't you understand? Dude, do you not hear me? I said I don't want them to need aid to begin with.
Okay,
if
don't
there's
start
aid
wars.
being brought in, they shouldn't need it.
Yeah, don't start wars. You wouldn't need aid.
Don't start wars. Get the fuck out of here.
They started the war.
Get the fuck out of here.
Did they not start a war?
No, they did not start the fucking war.
I don't know how else you would call it.
In a nuanced way, absolutely the fuck not. If you want to argue over who exactly fucking killed the fucking first person, that's not productive at all. I'm looking at the grand scheme of what happened.
You don't no
fucking
no,
Arabs.
No. You're not looking at the grand scheme of anything. You're not looking at the grand scheme of absolutely anything.
No, back and forth.
You're not looking at any numbers.
No.
You're not looking at any numbers. You're not looking at any.
No.
Are you okay? Do you need some kind of medical attention?
Shut the fuck up.
You're not looking at the grand scheme of anything.
I am. You're just not letting me fucking talk. You keep cutting me the fuck off every 2 seconds.
You're not looking at the big numbers. You keep giving me these
pictures.
This one picture of something. No, you admitted that the numbers are low. That people are not starving. The people are not starving. They are getting it. You could make a claim.
I never fucking admitted the numbers are low.
You could make a claim. Look, I'm conceding.
I literally clarified that those numbers were obvious. That the calculation was obviously off.
Excuse me? To what?
The calculation that we did to figure out how there was no need to fucking figure out how many of that 40,000 people were fucking were civilians.
You told me. You told me that it's one. I asked you. You told me that it's 1-to-1. You told me. I asked you the number.
Doesn't matter. More than half of that shit was fucking civilians.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's war.
It's fucking
It's war.
Bro.
It's war. It's not good. No one said war is good.
It's war. Yeah, no shit. Okay, exactly. Now let's talk about who fucking started it. When I look at
who the fuck do you think started it? Who the fuck do you think started? Honestly, now, be honest.
Israel.
Israel started October 7th,
along with Great Britain. Yes. No, not October fucking 7th. How are you
treating October 7th so lightly?
If everything before that never happened, there would have been no fucking October 7th, guaranteed. If they never did, there was no fucking conflict to begin with, there would have been no October 7th. I think that's pretty obvious statement to say. It's almost a fucking straw man that you should say yes.
Are you saying that Palestinians have no agency of their own? Everything. October 7th and this recent war started because Israel made it happen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So they caused this.
How did... Right. You're saying they caused it, but you're also saying that Palestinians have no agency of their own. They're just reacting to Israel. They're infants, really. They're just reacting to Israel and they have no control over themselves.
Economically, absolutely, they're fucking infants.
Economically, in what sense? You're saying Gaza was poor?
Yeah.
Before this war, Gaza was poor. Is that what you're saying?
No, not before the fucking war. I'm saying because of the fucking war, they're fucking economically disenfranchised like fuck. Absolutely.
They attacked in October 7th because Gaza was economically disenfranchised. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying yeah, yes. October 7th, they were economically disenfranchised,
Why do you believe
and they
that?
were being oppressed by Israel.
Why do you believe that?
It's not that I believe it; that it's just a fact.
Okay, so
They had the
if
blockade
I
up,
were to
correct?
if I if okay, if I
If the
were to share with
blockade is
you
up, why was the blockade up before October 7th? Why don't you answer me that?
the blockade was up before October 7th so that so the Palestinians wouldn't kill Israelis.
Well, based off what?
Historical evidence?
Oh, historical fucking evidence. Get that shit the fuck. You're fucking full of shit. We had to keep the wall up so that they couldn't do it on October 7th before they did on October 7th.
Why
That's
was the
fucking bullshit.
why was there a wall to begin with? Because there wasn't a wall there in the 70s.
Because of fucking Britain.
No, no. Oh my God. I'm telling you right now, there was no wall, there was no border in the 70s or the 80s. So why did Israel feel the need to erect one?
What'd you say?
I'm saying there was no border, both in Gaza and in the West Bank, by the way. There was no borders there in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, so why did and this is after Britain left. So why did Israel feel the need to erect a wall, erect a border?
Why did it? Because they're exerting their fucking oppression
Any other reason?
over them.
Any other reason?
Oh, because of security. It's such a
Oh,
these
security.
Palestinians are such a security
Oh, that
threat.
makes sense.
They're such a security threat.
Yeah.
They're Arabs, so they must be fucking dangerous with their fucking Muslim beliefs,
So
right? Is that the reasoning behind it?
okay, so let's give an example, right? So in the second Intifada, and this is something I'm more familiar with, uh, Palestinians from the West Bank came into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and blew up buses. Suicide bombers blew up buses, blew up cafes, restaurants. It was a very very dark time to be in Israel. Like there was conversations in Israel basically how do we solve this problem by how do we get Palestinians to not kill themselves and blow themselves up? And and once there was a wall, once there was I don't know why I don't know why that's
You're
funny.
hilarious.
Once there was
It's
a
because
wall,
you're just definitely making shit up here. How do we get Palestinians to stop blowing themselves up? That is the most. Like, come on, bro. But,
that
like,
was
how
the
am I
discuss.
not supposed to laugh at? How am I not supposed to laugh at
I
that?
don't I honestly don't know what's funny. And once there was a border there,
What you're
a
saying is
hundred a
funny.
100% of the suicide bombers stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful to understand why there was a wall there?
Well, was it because they were Palestinian? That's why we got to keep them out
It
because they're
was
from the
because
West Bank.
Palestinians went into Israel and killed people.
Palestinians or a certain group.
Well, either way, people from that area came out of that area, went into Israel proper, and killed people.
Wow, what a nice fucking oversimplification.
That's how security works. Then you put a border on it, and and the
Yeah,
bombing
yeah.
stops.
That's exactly how we approach security. Like in the United States, we say, yeah, there's a group of people right there. We need to protect ourselves from that group of people. From this place. They're from this place. That's how we approach it, 100%. It's not
Well,
like we see if they're like organizationally
I'm not.
or
Well,
affiliated or anything like that.
can you
Like
just
there's
get to
some like.
can you get to a point?
Well, you're oversimplifying it because you're basing this off of nationality.
People who
You're
believe in a
saying
certain
Palestinians.
look, I
You
don't.
won't say Hamas. You
I
won't
don't.
say Hamas.
Hamas isn't in the West Bank.
Uh, Okay, so then what's your fucking issue with the Palestinians in the West Bank?
I'm sure some of them are fine, but either way, some of them have a particular ideology that says, I'm going to blow myself up and I'm going to go to heaven and God's going to be really pleased with me if I go and slaughter Jews. And It's not
Oh, so
good.
we get to just discriminate against an entire group
That
of
yeah.
people.
It's kind of. I'm sorry to say
Wait,
you
you
put the
just said
ball.
it. You just said it.
Yeah,
You
but
just said it. I heard. You
bear
just
in
said
mind,
yes.
bear in mind, this
You just
group.
said yes. So wait. No. Pause. Pause.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Just
Pause.
accept the
So
bombing,
do
the suicide
we?
bombs?
No.
What would you do?
I want to pause at what you just said
Okay.
because should we have been able to like fucking when 9/11 happened, since I'm an American, right? Does that give us as Americans the right to fucking go nuke the Middle East because there might be more Muslims over there to fucking do another 9/11? That's the most fucking racist, Islamophobic fucking logic I could ever fucking think of.
I was talking about a wall. I wasn't talking about nuking anyone.
Yeah, but it's a fucking comparison with a hyperbole thrown
It's
in
not
there.
comparable at all. Sorry.
Well, actually,
I'm saying
It is
you
because
put a border,
no. Shut up.
you put a border,
It is comparable
and then you
because
check,
Israel has dropped the equivalent of 2 nuclear bombs on Gaza,
but
so it is fucking
it did
comparable.
not drop 2 nuclear bombs on Gaza.
I said the equivalent of dickhead. Come on,
It did not drop.
keep up.
It still didn't drop 2 nuclear bombs on Gaza. I don't even know if that's accurate what you're saying.
The
But
equivalent of.
but the point.
Do not hear the words coming out of my mouth, my
I don't
man.
agree.
The
I don't agree that
equivalent
it is
of
equivalent. I
two
don't agree.
nuclear bombs,
I don't agree.
energy wise.
I think that's hyperbole.
That's not
I
hyperbole.
don't agree with that assessment.
It's based off an article.
Okay,
I could cite it.
I think it's hyperbole.
It's not
Putting a
hyperbole.
wall between one
It's
nation.
not a hyperbole.
Can I just finish? Putting a wall between one
If you added
and
up all the missile strikes, nope. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say because you've been talking for a long fucking time. If
well,
you added
I
up
just
all the
want to talk
fucking
some
missile strikes,
sense. I just
if
want to
you
talk some
added up
sense.
all the missile strikes and put them together, they would
I
equivalent the amount of 2 nuclear bombs.
I don't agree.
That would be the equivalent.
I don't agree.
Okay, you can
Because
say
bear in
you
mind,
cannot
you dropped
agree
two
all
nuclear
you
bombs.
want.
You guys dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan, and that was like
Okay.
equivalent. That was like it's very difficult to top that in terms of like actual TNT. So what I am saying, if you put in a border, security border between two different nations, where one nation has proved to be hostile to the other, then at the very least you screen people from coming in, and you can prevent suicide bombers from harming your own citizens. That is what the job of a country is supposed to do: protect its citizens.
Yeah, and go out of their way to go into another territory and just fucking
That's only once they
slaughter
started the war.
anyone that might be from that religion, right?
That's
Yeah, so
hyperbole and a
and
lie.
we're gonna
That's a
finish it,
blood
right?
libel.
We're
That's
gonna
a blood
finish it.
libel.
They
That's a
started
blood
it. We're
libel.
gonna finish it. That's your logic, right?
That's a blood
They
libel.
started it. We're gonna finish it.
That is a
Yeah,
blood libel.
that's what you're saying.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I already
What are you
explained
saying?
very clearly what I said. We're talking about the border, right? That's why the border was erected.
I don't know. It sounds like a bunch.
It sounds racist, doesn't it?
Bad
Oh my
faith from
god,
you.
it's so racist. When people are trying to kill your
I said it
citizens, you
sounds
put
bad
security.
faith.
It's bad faith. Okay.
You're just a
We're just
liar.
nuking. We're nuking everyone. Oh my god.
That's not what I said. I said the equivalent.
It's equivalent of
nuclear
nuking everything. We go to another country, we nuke it. I just put a fucking border. That's what I said. It's the same thing.
Put a fucking boulder. What are you saying, dude?
Boulder.
I can't hear you thinking outside. You can't fucking speak proper English.
Yeah,
you can't. You
proper
can't.
American, sure. BOR.
Yeah. You obviously fucking can't. You're fucking scones. Why don't you go sip on some fucking tea, you British fuck, or whatever the fuck you are?
We like our scones, and our tea is amazing.
Yeah, I know you do.
Best in the world, all the way from India.
Bloody hell, bloody hell.
Indeed.
The fuck? Why don't you go purchase some fucking aluminium? How about that?
Eh? Aluminium. You want me to say potato or potato?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want you to say at this point because you got a lot of bullshit coming out of your mouth right now.
Yeah. Okay. So on the broad scope of things, right? I can explain why there's a border. I've demonstrated that the casualties are low. I've tried to demonstrate the reasons that the Palestinians and the Palestinians will never agree to share the land with Israel. I don't think I've done a good job because I was at the beginning and we moved away of it. But I don't have any reason to believe, and I was a lefty when I was younger. I was vegan as well, still vegan. Um, to believe that the Palestinians
Dude,
want a two-state solution, I don't see that happening. I don't see that they want one. I don't think they want to share the land with. I think they want to kill or seriously like expel all the Jews from Israel, and I have my reasons for that, I guess, which I haven't been able to express here. And with regards to starvation, I said the numbers themselves, that the responsibility of Israel to let the aid go through the borders, and that's it. They're not supposed to distribute it. That's not on them. They've done so. If there was a complication with the distribution, that one side of Gaza got a lot, the other didn't, that's I can I can agree that that could happen, but that's again not Israel. Israel is not tasked with feeding a hostile enemy that's trying to attack it. It has international agreements, which is to facilitate aid. It has done those agreements, and it's recorded. The numbers of trucks that went in, all those are recorded every day. It's all visible to everyone. So I hope, on the grand scheme of things, that I was able to demonstrate that in this conversation.